Welcome to day 21 and congratulations, it is the final day of the challenge and today we are going to practice your first full class. You've been working hard these past 20 days on learning many of the poses, but of course there are so many poses in yoga with so many variations that there will always be something new for you to explore. If this is your very first yoga class, be kind to yourself. Every pose is an offering or an invitation. You don't have to do every single one. Take what works for you and leave what doesn't, and I will see you in the class. So let's begin our class today in Supta Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet together, the knees wide. Place one hand on your belly and one hand over your heart. Bring in your breath, and if you know Ujjayi breath, go straight there. If you don't, you're breathing in and out through the nose with your mouth closed, trying to constrict the back of your throat, the epiglottis, so that the breath creates this raspy quality to it. It sounds like the ocean. We'll also incorporate Samavriti Pranayam, the breath control where we take the same counts for the inhale as the exhale. The mind and the breath are intricately connected. If your breath goes, your mind wanders. Yoga practice is to keep focus on our breath in order to focus our mind. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Take a few little circles of the knees, a few times each way. And then rock yourself up to all fours, taking the hands under the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Preparing for cat-cow, so on the inhale, arching the spine, looking up, and as you exhale, rounding the back, taking your eyes towards thighs. Seeing if you can marry the breath and the movement. Inhale for your cat pose. Whole exhale for cow pose. In this way, when we're creating breath and movement in unison, it becomes a moving meditation. From here, just take the right leg forward, coming into a low crescent lunge. Press through the right heel of the front foot, the top of the left foot. Squeeze the left glute and hug the inner thighs in to create some support so that you can extend and lift from your pelvis all the way to the fingertips. And then when you exhale, half Hanumanasana, half splits pose. I'm going to try to forward fold by hinging from the hips rather than curling your spine too much. See about attempting to turn the sitting bone more backwards, like you're trying to stick your tailbone out. Moving back through crescent lunge on the inhale, and then take the hands to the floor. Step the right leg back, bring the left leg forward. Same thing on the other side. So don't forget to create a stable base to move from by grounding down through the left heel and the top of the back foot. Press it down into the mat. Keep the breath flowing. Seeing if you can keep that Ujjayi breath. Moving into half Hanumanasana. And try not to worry about how low you come. It's more important here that you come down with a long spine and you get your pelvis to tilt backwards so that you can really access a nice strong hamstring stretch. Moving back through your low lunge, hands to floor, to the top of the mat, forward fold. Here, bind your elbows, separate the feet without hip width apart, and keep the knees bent so that you can lay your ribs on your thighs. Perhaps a little rock side to side might feel nice. As you're hanging in ragdoll, even when you're still, notice the breath filling the back body, inflating it like a balloon. Just allowing the spine to decompress. No need to hold yourself up here, lay over your legs. Let go of the bind, draw the belly in and roll yourself all the way up to stand. Inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, big swan dive down. On the next inhale, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. And then take the hands to the floor, step back into plank pose. Drop the knees straight away, release the feet and come all the way to the earth. Inhale for cobra, lift with the mid back, exhale to lower, and then press all the way back, downward facing dog. On the inhale, come to tippy toes, bend the knees, and then step the feet forward, halfway lift, inhale, exhale, forward fold. Press down into the feet as you rise up on the in-breath. Feel the exhale bring you back down to the earth. Inhale, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, step straight back into Chaturanga Dandasana, knees or toes. If you're on your toes, you could take upward facing dog, thighs are off the floor, and downward facing dog as you breathe out. Inhale to tippy toes, bend the knees on the exhale, step or float the feet to the top of the mat, take a halfway lift, inhale, exhale, bow. Rise up, inhale, reach with the arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And then Chaturanga Dandasana, come forward as you come down, elbows point straight back. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, open the collarbones, and use the belly to pull you back into downward facing dog. Take the right leg to sky on your next inhale. And take your whole exhale to tiger curl your knees, step the foot through, and rise up into Anjayanasana, full version of your crescent lunge now. Soften the back knee to bias the hip flexor stretch, draw the pubic bone up towards the navel, hug the inner thighs in energetically. Still looking for that solid base of support. Lift the arms, lift the chest and the gaze. And then next time you breathe out, you can broaden your stance into Virabhadrasana B, Warrior 2. You want to check that your front knee is aligned with your middle toe. The back foot is slightly turned in. The feet are about as wide as the wrist. Gaze over the front middle finger. And then reach forward with that right arm. Place the elbow onto the knee. Left arm comes over into Utthita Parshvakonasana, extended side angle. You can also take the option of fingertips towards the floor. And just whatever option you're choosing, make sure that you can breathe well in your pose. Rise up on the inhale, straighten the front leg, reverse triangle. And then as you exhale, come into triangle pose, right side of the body nice and long, reaching the hands down towards the shin or a little further, as long as you don't collapse into this. You want to keep the right side of the body long and lifted. Gaze can be up by your fingertips, Or if it feels better in your neck, take the gaze to the earth. Bend into that front knee, Viparita Virabhadrasana on your inhale. Really reach that right arm nice and straight so you get a beautiful side body stretch. And then as you exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the earth, step the foot back, move through your chaturanga. Take Urdhva Mukha Svanasana with your in-breath and Ardha Mukha Svanasana with your out-breath. Left leg floats to the sky with the inhale. Squeeze the air out with your tiger curl. Step the foot through, bend off that back knee, Anjayanasana, crescent lunge. If you've noticed the breath leaving your body, you've probably also lost your mind to an external sensation. See if you can keep the breath and the mind involved in your practice. Warrior 2. Set up the feet so they're nice and wide and sit in your power. And from here, just reach that left arm long, place the elbow to the knee or fingertips to floor for extended side angle. Try to make a nice straight line from the right heel all the way up to the right pinky finger. So you may have to lower that right hip down a little. Use your elbow against the inner knee to revolve yourself into a side angle. Extend the leg and extend the left arm. Create some space for your triangle pose through the left side of the body, keeping that space now as you come into Trikonasana. Really ground down with the heels here and then think about hugging them in towards each other. So you'll feel the inner thighs switch on and you'll also feel the Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor, which will help support you in your pose. Bending into that front knee, finding Viparita Virabhadrasana. And then moving through your vinyasa flow, chaturanga, knees or toes, cobra or upward facing dog, or skipping those two poses whenever you feel the need to and meeting in downward facing dog. We'll flow this sequence, one breath, one movement. Inhale, right leg to sky. Exhale, tiger curl through. Inhale for crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reach long with that right arm and set up for extended side angle as you exhale. Reverse triangle pose on your inhale, moving into triangle pose as you exhale. Bend the knee, Viparita Virabhadrasana, inhale. Chaturanga Dandasana as you exhale. Inhale, back bend of choice. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Do this again on the left side, in your own time, in your own breath. And see if you can notice the rise and the fall of the movement, corresponding with the rise and the fall of the breath. Notice if in any poses your breath quickens or stops. And then notice what your mind is saying to you in these poses. They're intricately connected. When you've finished your last vinyasa here, there's no rush, in your own time. I'll wait for you in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, ripple into plank pose. You're going to hold Dandasana for a moment, so press the earth away so the mid-back holds you up. Make sure the core is engaged. If you need to drop to the knees, you can release the feet. Try to keep the hips tucked in. Otherwise, if you can, stay on the toes. Lengthen the tailbone down towards the heels and squeeze the glutes to help keep your pelvis in a line. Notice if the breath stopped here or quickened. Does in challenging poses. See if you can breathe evenly, inhale and exhale. And then eventually we'll lower ourselves down to the belly and take an open chest stretch. Left elbow out 90 degrees, left ear on the floor. Roll yourself over to the left. Press the left hand firmly down. Wrap the left shoulder blade down your spine. Feel a stretch through the upper chest, front of shoulder. And then come back through center and set that up the right side. Make sure your elbow is at 90 degrees and your ear stays on the earth. Opening up the space to allow more breath in. Coming back through center, setting up for locust pose, Shalabhasana. Taking the arms by your side, let the breath lift you up. Mid-back lifts. Perhaps the hands float, perhaps the feet float off. Keep drawing the belly button back towards the spine. Every time you inhale, perhaps lifting a little more. And then place the hands by the ribs. And then sit back into Balasana, child's pose. And then once again, bringing your attention, your awareness back to your breath. Notice the quality of your breathing. The breath often serves like a messenger, letting us know if a pose is too challenging or perhaps even too easy. If the pose is challenging, the breath quickens or stops. And if the pose is so easy, we might not even notice we are needing our breath. Make your way into a seat, extend the right leg long and find Janusirsasana, the left foot to the right inner thigh, folding over the right leg. Noticing the sensation in the back of the right thigh, your hamstring. We'll be holding these next few postures for quite a while. And it's a challenge to stay in the practice at this point in time mentally. But we can anchor our mind into the practice by tuning into our breath. So this is the practice right now. Awareness on the breath. If the mind starts to wander, that's totally normal and okay, but just gently coax it back. Coming up, moving into half hero pose. Now this pose is not for everybody, so if your knees do not like this pose, I'll give you another option. If you're coming into half hero, you might stay sitting upright, you might come onto the elbows, or you might come all the way down. Just make sure that there's no pain in your knee. If you're feeling this in your knee, go ahead and roll onto the right side of your body, and then just pick up the left heel with your left hand. And then bring the heel towards the glute so you can stretch out through that left front of thigh. You might notice if you're on your elbows, after a few nice slow breaths, the body relaxes and gives in. And you might be able to deepen into the pose. to come up, use your abdominals, use your hands. And then we'll take Janusasana, the other side, left leg extends. Ride the breath like a wave. So on the inhale, perhaps pull, lift a little with the chest, and then as you exhale, soften into the pose. The breath is an excellent tool to work with because it's always with us. Checking in with the breath can help show us what's going on inside, mentally especially. Not only is the breath a reflection of what's going on in your body, but it's a reflection of what's going on in our mind. And then folding that right leg behind you, setting up for half hero. Any variation of the pose, including lying on your left side, taking hold of the right foot, and taking a nice opening for the front of the right thigh in that manner. Yoga is not really about getting the poses perfect. It's more about learning how we react to the poses, how we breathe through the poses. It's about bringing the body and the mind back to a state of ease in the asana, in the poses, by bringing our breath back to a state of ease. And from here, just stay on your back, cross the left ankle over the right knee, and then draw the legs in for a figure four stretch, a little stretch for the glutes. You can hold on around the shin or the back of the thigh. Try to keep the whole spine down flat on the mat here, from the back of the head all the way to the tailbone. Stay with your breath. And just for a few more moments. And then from here, twisted roots. So keep the knees crossed if you can as you take them over to the right. If it's too much with the legs crossed, just stack the knees one on top of the other. Try to keep that left shoulder blade heavy on the earth. And the breath flowing steadily through the constriction that the twist provides. And coming back through center, let's take the right ankle over the left knee. Pull that in for a stretch. Notice if the mind is going into the sensation in the glute. Gently coax it back to the breath. That's the practice today. It's like flexing a muscle. Repetition after repetition, you'll get stronger. Same with your focus. Twisted roots. Keep the knees bound if it feels okay. And just enjoy being fully supported by the earth here. Try to make the body nice and heavy, nice and grounded. And so we're starting to wind down towards Shavasana. And then coming back through center, Ananda Balasana, happy baby pose, taking the outside of the feet, bringing the knees down towards the armpit, keeping the whole spine once again nice and heavy on the earth from the back of the head all the way to the tailbone. And then finally into Shavasana. Final resting pose, let the feet flop out to the side, arms by your side, palms up. Where we can finally surrender the breath control, surrender the pranayama. Just let the breath flow intuitively and naturally. I'll leave you here for a few minutes and I will bring you out of Shavasana today. But for now, just bask in your breath. Start to breathe into the body, swirling around the wrists and the ankles. Arms overhead, give your body a nice stretch. Hug the knees in towards the chest and roll over to the side. As you come up, just breathe in what you need. to come up with how much energy you need, how much breath you need, depending on what you're doing after your practice. And sit cross-legged. Inhale, reach the arms towards the sky, hands come through heart center. Namaste. A huge congratulations for completing the 21-day yoga challenge. What an achievement. I have been truly honoured to take you through this 21-day challenge, and I hope that you can feel the difference within yourself. A gentle reminder to enter the prize draw for completing the competition. I've popped the details of that in the description box on how to enter. And also please explore my YouTube channel at Aspire to Wellbeing with yoga for free 15 to 30 minute yoga classes. I look forward to seeing you on the mat again soon.